Yes, a very beautiful Tuesday morning again from the stereos of iPower 102.7 FM, situated live in Imorili or Ondo State. And of course, a very warm welcome to into today's edition of Political Perspective, your trusted platform for insightful analysis, informed opinion, and of course, a balanced conversation on political issues shaping our nations. From the corridors of power to the voices of the people, we bring you the biggest headlines, policy decisions, governance that matters, elections, democracy, and everything in between. Don't worry, today promises to be very, very engaging as we break down the stories making waves across political landscape and examine what it truly means as Nigerians. My name is Florence Ibhareman, and today on the program with me is Akin Adebayo. Good morning, Akin Adebayo.
Good morning, Floxy, and it's a pleasure being on the program with you this morning.
I hope you're very prepared for what we have today, talking about what is in the papers.
Well, to a large extent, I'm prepared since I'm in Nigeria, and I'm in Nigeria.
Avio, since you're Nigerian in Nigeria at this time.
Exactly.
So before we dig in direct into what we have today, a special birthday shout out to our very own chairman, I Chief Funsho Ogola. We are wishing you a very blissful, happy birthday, and we pray that the good Lord continues to protect, provide, and ensure that you are safe at all times. Like they always say, Igbaodun. DPO said it's just 1 minute. So Igbaodun, sir. Isheju Kononi, long life and prosperity to the chairman of iPower 102.7 FM. We are wishing you a very blissful celebration today. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday, sir.
So like I said on the program, we'll be looking straight into what the papers is saying today. The difference between in the papers and political perspective is that we take our time to dig, analyze, and of course bring clarity where it matters. So today our first discussion will be centered around the repentant terrorist swear oath with Quran before the reintegration, says Borno. Now, how did we get here? How did we get to the point whereby some persons are labeled repentant terrorists? Now they are undergoing a swearing in with a Quran before they get reintegrated back. And that's happening in Borno State. How did we get there? How is swearing an oath with the Quran a justifiable reason that yes, indeed, these persons are repentant? What procedures is there? Is there a therapist they went through? Is there any conviction before the swearing oath is taken and the need for them to be reintegrated back into the economy, into society is done?
Thank you very, very much. Like I've always said, Nigeria adopted our present system of government, that is the presidential system of government it was a copy from American presidential system of government. But unfortunately, it appears we are not really adhering to the tenets or the principle of federal character or true federalism, so to speak. Now, what about the issue of terrorism that we are battling with? I must tell you, this is one of the most recent, event or happenings in Nigeria. Now, what will it have cost Nigeria to go and look at the way America has always handled the issue of terrorism, then now integrate it into our own system here? So far, we deem it fit to go and adopt the presidential system of government, which gives enormous power to the president or the presidency, as the case may be. Then what did it not cost Nigerian government to now adopt the way at which terrorism issue is being handled over there in the US? Now, take for instance, I begin to imagine, as I'm very much familiar with what's obtainable over there. Terrorism is not something that the American government jokes with. The rate at which they handle terrorism is not a kid's glove. Take for instance, the war between America and Iran now, or should I say US, Israel and Iran, is born out of the war against terrorism that they are alleging Iran, Palestine, and maybe some other, Islamic countries, about. Now, but in Nigeria, whenever I've always said it, there's nothing that comes to this country that we don't abuse. In America, did the American government now say that any terrorist that is caught and probably pledge repentance should swear through the Bible or through the Quran and be integrated? If they don't even integrate them back into their various military, architecture or structure, as the case may be, no. But in Nigeria, we will now hear that now they are born again, so to speak. So they cannot be integrated back to the community, into the society, to the extent of even integrating them back into the security architecture of Nigeria. Do we know the amount being given to these people back when they're in that terrorist act? And do you know that I've forgotten that guy's name, a particular terrorist? He has renounced terrorism about 3 good times. At the end of the day, it was discovered that this same guy is the one that's always feeding back in giving the terrorists back in the forest intelligence report about what's actually happening in the various security architecture. Either it's at the JTA, that is Joint Military Task Force, that is being organized there to just counter terrorism, or either in the military barrack itself. These are the things. Now they now say that because they've deposed or taken an oath with the Quran, now that is the sure, that is the sure, thinking or belief that now they've turned back from their evil ways. Let me ask you, is it not, I'm sorry to say this, these same people that are now claiming not to, that are now students to the Quran, I remember vividly, at least via video clips that we watched, whenever they want to kill any person, they will still recite that same Quran on that person. I've been asking that the Quran that they're now swearing with now is different from the one that they used to recite whenever they want to carry out their illicit act. I've heard about, I wouldn't want to start mentioning the Islamic tune or verse that they used to use whenever they want to embark on their terrorist acts. But now saying that they've sworn with the Quran, like you rightly asked, did these people undergo any rehab? They never did. Did they undergo any diaring? They are not diaried. They just believe that since they have sworn to the Quran, these people are they educated at all? That they can now understand that, okay, now that it's sworn to the Quran, you can no longer go into acts of terrorism. And like I said, we've seen instances where many of them have equally sworn through the same Quran and still went back into terrorism. Now they're not linked them on it again. And that is why I keep on saying it, that insecurity in northern Nigeria is a very big industry. Some people are benefiting from it. That is why tomorrow I will continue to refer to the quote of Adams Shomole when he said some top brass in the military or either retired or serving are the one actually sponsoring insurgency in northern Nigeria because they want to continue with their illegal mining of gold. Now, if this illegal mining of gold continues, let me tell you, there is no day or there is no time that this insecurity will stop, particularly in northern Nigeria. Because we are talking about money now being generated through that means. And as some people have sworn to the Quran that now they can be integrated back into the system. To me, you swearing to the Quran is not even enough. And again, terrorism is not something that you negotiate with. In fact, these people, the very media are caught. Now, what are they now doing for those people that actually fell victim of this terrorist act?
I was about to ask that, so that, okay, what is the fate of those who lost their loved ones? How do they come to terms with the fact that they are now living with those who actually inflicted pains on them?
That is why I keep on saying it, that people are now beginning to see that if you want to get anything from the federal government, either in forms of job, in form of money, in form of any form of settlement, you just join these terrorist guys. That is why it appears that this thing is growing.
That should not be the way out.
Of course, the government painted it and allowed it to put in place structures that inform such opinion. If the government has said giving zero to terrorists, the very media are caught. Look, Gumi would always say, and I give it to Gumi, he remains an authority when it comes to terrorism activities in this country. Gumi said that the government knows where the terrorists are located. He's very right about it, because this is one of the very few persons, individual in Nigeria, that has gone to always meet those terrorists in the forest. They've discussed, they've had, some kind of conversation. Gumi doesn't go there alone. Whenever Gumi is going to meet those terrorist guys in the forest, he goes there with security personnel who allotted those security personnel to him. These are the things. So which simply means that, like I've always said, people, do you know that the revenue, or should I say the money that these people are getting from those illegal mining from those areas is far more than even the money they are seeing maybe from their various businesses. And you're not telling me that such things should not stop. No, there is more undertuned languages to this issue of terrorism in northern Nigeria than what the eyes could see. So to me, you saying that maybe of course, in Nigeria, do you know that there's nobody that has assumed power, as from presidency to ordinary councillor, that will not swear with either the Quran or the Bible? So you stop deceiving ourselves.
So what's the way forward?
Now the way forward is that, you see, the way forward. Look, we've said it here on several occasions. There's no how you try to provide solutions that this government are ready to adopt it.
Okay,
so far
now
they don't have the political will.
Reintegration into the society, should that even come on the template at all?
That is what I'm saying. It is as a result of this reintegration, and not just reintegration. Whenever they are integrated, they are settled, either by virtue of giving them employment or giving them houses and maybe giving them money to start their businesses. That is what actually informed this level of insurgency or terrorism. Because people that knows that these guys are terrorists and now they are doing fine, why wouldn't they go into it? It's just like virtually in all Nigeria. Okay, I must equally say this. Go to South Nigeria. Do you know how much that is being allotted to maybe Tatina, a kind of agency that is working, that is a company, so to speak, private company, a security company that is waging war against oil bulk and what have you in South Nigeria. About 9 billion naira every year. 9 billion. Do you know what that amounts? What it amounts to? Which simply means if today the federal government stops giving them that money, there will be issue of vandalization of pipelines in South Nigeria again. Look, the very people begin to benefit from their nefarious activities, and all the upcoming youths are seeing that I used to know this bros, but ever since he joined this group and government has now started seeking maybe for the attention and what have you and making money from it, other people will want to join. Like I said, you integrating them, settling them is not the solution. Is it today they've been integrating them? Is it today that they started settling them? It has been what they've been doing for a very long time. Has it brought about a reasonable solution of insurgency in northern Nigeria? No. Look, you cannot continue doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. It is practically impossible. If you discover that this thing is not working, why not go out on the complete onslaught on them? Because these guys are not, look, they've made, you do see it on TikTok, on social media handles, the rate at which they flaunt money. Are you not telling me that those cannot be tracked? These people, they make phone calls, even though they make some calls with their victims and phone number. Is it material? Can that number be tracked? Do you know that if you should steal a phone here now, take it to random security agencies, they will try the person that stole the phone. I've seen instances where a phone was stolen in Akure here, and it was recovered in Lagos. Why can't they apply the same energy in tracking someone's phone that was stealing to the same? Because if I'm not mistaken, the issue of insecurity is far more important than phone stealing. Somebody said he tapped into the phone of the NSA. He had been granted bail. Person of Nasir El-Rufai. He said on live TV program. Should it even be released in the first place? These are the things. So it simply means that the issue of terrorism in northern Nigeria, there is more to it than what the eyes could see. Take for instance, last year December, American came and, should I say, blew off one of their camp in Sokoto. And according to report, that place is not even too far from the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto. The Sultan has not said a single word regarding that matter till now. And let me tell you, there was no time that any attack took place in Sokoto. It had been taking place in Borno, which means that either they must have conducted their terrible terrorist act in either Borno, Niger, Adamawa, or what have you, or Katsina. They will now come and share the loot in Sokoto. Because that was where the American government went and trust those people. They just don't act on impulse. They act on detailed information, detailed intelligence of the movement or the location of those terrorist groups. Because it amazes me when they say that they bomb a particular, they disclose what they bombed there in Sokoto. Because I knew that nothing of terrorist act has taken place in Sokoto. That is intelligence gathering for you. That is intelligence gathering for you. So to me, the idea of you swearing with Quran and water, like I said the other time, there is no elected political office holder in Nigeria, either elected or appointed, that did not swear with either Quran or Bible. Where has it taken us to?
Okay,
So
now looking at the way this whole ransom of a thing, kidnapping, and the kind of how lucrative it's seeming to be like, it actually drew me back to what happened sometime last week about the 17-year-old boy that wanted to make have this reunion with his friends, unknown to him that they already plotted to kill him and all of that. Now, when I was watching the video online, I was, I don't know, looking at the way those kids, the young men were narrating the ordeal. I was aback because there was no remorse, there was no fear. There was no even regret in their voice. The only thing that I kept on repeating was the fact that they had a well planned out way of executing their mission, which was the friend, because the friend Thompson, the guy's name is Thompson Adams, the late guy. So Thompson had a friend. I don't know if you're familiar with the story.
oh,
Thompson had a friend who he knew when he was in secondary school. So they've been trying to reconnect online, or not to Thompson that the friend already has a plan to, kidnap him and ask for ransom, because from afar he felt and Thompson's family are rich. So at least 150 million thereabout will be able to come out from it. So now upon having the chance to lure him to the house and all of that, to their place, planned everything, took a picture of him and actually gave it to the family, and they were trying to come up with some money. These guys are 20 something, they are not even big guys like that. So now upon everything, now the guys now realize that the Thompson's family are not as rich as they emphasize that they will be rich. Now the other guy that is familiar with Thompson's family was like, okay, we'll have to kill this person because he already knew, or he has already seen my face. So now that's I'm actually making the summary because even young people today are looking at the rate of kidnapping, how those guys flaunt money, how it's seeming like it's another oil business now, because everyone that ventures into it, I stand to be corrected, almost goes free. I read a post of an ex minister from Jigawa who paid 50 million, upon which they killed him today. So for these young people, these young guys to have actually had a plan, and from afar felt this guy was rich or from a rich family, at least will ask for 150 million. At least God knows this when you would hear such money and you'd be like, can it really come to light? But these days, you will hear 300 million, 150 million, 100 million, 50 million, all those kind of thing. So now, why I'm asking this is because everyone is on the social media. Everyone is watching things. Young people are seeing things to a point that a 17 years, 18 years can now even be thinking of 150 million. Where do we go from here?
thank you very, very much. It all started with the government failure. That is why at times I get pissed when some people begin to push some certain responsibility to the family line. In as much as, of course, the family has its own role to play, what about the responsibility of the government, which is far, far more important? Now, how do I mean? The very minute this, why did the issue of kidnapping started? Maybe I will take memory down memory lane. It all started in South Nigeria. When then, the oil companies came around, wanted to start there, and I said, okay, the indigenous started complaining that whenever there is exploration, that it runs into the waterways, they can no longer fish. It runs into the farmland, it destroys the farmland, they can no longer farm. Now, instead of the government to put in place necessary structure, how do I mean? Drainage system, or tunnel, underground or surface, as the case may be, that whenever there is a spillage from those oil companies, it will go into that sewage, it will go into that tunnel, and off it goes into a particular sewage. They never did that. What did the government do? And the company in particular, they started giving those troubled, farmland owners and waterways owners, money. That okay, for the meantime, when we do the necessary and stuff like that. Now, and I've noticed one thing: the very minute you start compensating with money, expect more problems. Because that's what they call free money. Money does not actually work for. And at this time that the companies and Nigerian government now wanted to start doing, tunnels, that okay, whenever there's a kind of spillage, instead of it to go into their farmlands and go to the waterways that they won't be able to farm or fish, the people that started kidnapping them. all because they started making money directly from that their own calamity. And that is why, with the level of money that's been appropriated to NDDC, you will not see anything visible over there. Now, these are people that equally collect the reservations, those oil rich states. You will not see anything tangible over there. Rather, what will you see? You will see men and guys riding in exotic cars, putting on well expensive clothes, building hotels, building all my Timi Alaibe, the former NDDC chairman or thereabout. I started in Bayelsa, so I'm talking from the point of authority. I started in Bayelsa. He built a skilled acquisition center, very massive. Do you know what they did? They burned the place down, saying that they're not after skill. Now, our oil money, you should be giving money directly. I saw there was a particular Friday that some guys, I was at the camp and I saw some guys coming in with big exotic cars. To my amazement, I saw these people, able-bodied men with good clothes, changing from their good clothes to rags. What is going on? And now I went to look what is going on. You know what I saw? I saw these people having changed their clothes to dirty, tattered-looking clothes in various houses, collecting direct cash from the government and oil companies. Now, when the government now wanted to start putting in place tunnels and sewage system, they rejected it. They started kidnapping the white men that are working in those oil companies. Now, when the white men now beef up their security, they now started kidnapping their millionaires amongst them. And that was how it started. Until when Yar'Adua came on board and introduced the amnesty program. It was the amnesty that now checked their excesses. And what is the amnesty? It's giving them money. Send them to South Africa, send them to other European American countries to go and study. And many of them have gone and come back to actually add value to the system. None of them. Whenever they go there, off they go. And to our amazement, so the people back home here started continuing making that money. Now from there, the issue of terrorism started from northern Nigeria. When it started, this problem we are talking about is not up to 20, 30 years or thereabouts. It has become a serious issue now. What was the government's response? As at the time the government should take proactive measures, they would never do it. It started with they are witch hunting their fellow Islamic and faithfuls, they are witch hunting northern and what have you. And that was how it continued filtering on. And here we are now. Of course, the very minute a crime is being perpetuated and is not checked, and the perpetrators are not brought to book, I can assure you, other people's looking at them, they follow suit. The social media has now amplified it. You know, like I've always said, before the introduction of this phone that you are using on social media and what have you, the issue of maybe Christian being attacked in northern Nigeria has been on for a very long time. It didn't just start today. It didn't start maybe some 10, 20, 30 years ago. No, it has started long time ago. But it became more amplified now via the social media handles that whenever anything happens, people post it. The same way social being posted is the same way people are now seeing the act of terrorism being a very laudable industry. Now, by the time these people, you see, and there are ways information filters. There are evidences that this kidnapping of a thing pays. And that is why you now see youth. It started in the north. There was nothing like kidnapping in southern Nigeria before now. But by the time they now see how lucrative it is, and nobody is being brought to book. If you look at the trajectory, you discover now that anybody that's involved in kidnapping, for ransom making and taking and what have you in southern Nigeria, they are always caught, particularly in southwestern Nigeria. Simply because we don't tolerate such things back here. But in southern Nigeria, I'm sorry to say this, kidnapping it has been known before now. Even in southeast, they used to kidnap. In northern Nigeria, it now became more pronounced. The very minute something is not checked, particularly if that thing begins to bring money, some illicit money, into the pocket of some people, into the purse of some people, and the government is not being proactive in bringing it to a stop, in nipping it at the mud, I mean nipping it at the top, then it becomes a serious problem. And that's what we're experiencing here now.
In all of this, I would always ask for the way forward, because now young minds are watching. Everything plays out and almost immediately gets to the internet.
Exactly.
Now, what should parents, guardians do differently? Because one of the narratives that actually went with that story of that boy was the fact that if you've not seen someone for the longest, don't assume too quickly that they are who you left years ago. So what should guardians, parents, before we come to the government now, because many a times we need to talk to ourselves first before talking about what blaming the government for anything. I'm not saying the government is not playing a role in all of this, but what should a parent, guardian, and even young minds do? What can we do differently so that at least no other person, or so as not to repeat what is happening at that time?
Thank you very, very much. I think there's no parent that will sit his or her child down and begin to like tutor him or her on negative character, negative attitude, negative behaviors, or the act of kidnapping or what have you. You understand? But people are more influenced via the social media. I think what parents can do now is to educate their child more about not just going to people's or going to visit a friend that you've seen for a very long time. But you know what? You never can tell. Even if your own son, because I can assure you, the parent of these boys that killed their friend may not even be aware of what their child is capable of doing. So it's a serious problem. Like I said, parents have been playing their role in teaching their children, orientating them. Like Yorubas always say, not your humanity one she. But no matter how much you try to train your children on good moral virtues, that the society we find ourselves in not influence them in one way or the other. So I think what parents should do now is to educate their children on the issue of security. That is, if for this, do you know there is no parent that will sit his or her child and begin to teach them how to smoke, how to take drugs. But they see these things either via our entertainers, you understand, or via maybe peer groups, or what you see on the street, in the society. So I think what parents just need to do now, that is, if you know, and it must start now. That is why the idea of saying that any child that want to, the recent policy just passed, that they should undergo drug tests.
Yes.
Let me tell you, there is no way you can test a boy or a girl that want to just go into GSS1 that will be positive. No. I think when they should start the issue of that drug test is when you have to go to SS1.
Okay.
So exactly, because yes, what does the boy of 9 10 what does he or she knows?
You did be amazed at what you know.
I don't know. What I'm saying is, as in when you're about entering secondary school, there's nothing they know, and I can see it anywhere, 9 10. But when you're in that system, you're in that secondary school, that's where the influence starts from. Particularly in the SS classes. So it's very simple. It's a matter of you doing the test whenever you want to proceed to SS1. And most importantly, where the test, I think, should be more taken seriously is when you want to enter the higher institution. Look, this thing there are stages. As we are growing physically, body-wise, and what have you, equally our thinking, mentality, ideology, what we are exposed to, is equally growing. How do I mean? A boy of maybe 1 to 10, you cannot put your children in boarding house. So some parent does it, but very, very rare. So they're still under the tutelage of their parents. It is when you assume that GS1, that is when you start getting influence from your friends. It is what your friend begin to do as you begin to take after. So we simply mean that what your parents has taught you back home might be eroded with what you are now seeing at the moment. That is why I said the policy should have been when you want to go into SS1. That is when that drug test should be conducted.
I don't think it's going to stop just upon entering school. I think it's something that will be periodic, like the news said.
Then the government need to be proactive, not responsive. You understand? Government, to me, it seems they are more responsive than being proactive. And the very minute you are responsive, the good things, in fact, something worse would have happened. Why not put it to a check? Let me tell you one thing. If, for instance, now, the government has just put a policy that, okay, if you want to be admitted to GS1, is that not?
Yeah.
A child may not take it from GS1. And I've scaled it now. Start taking from that GS1, 2, 3, and get to GS1 and maybe graduate. But I've grown by then. But if they were to start it by when you want to get to SS1, even if drug is being introduced to you in GS1, GS2, GS3, you won't take it. Because you know that you should undergo that test when you want to go to SS1. And when you now know that by the time you want to be admitted into a university, particularly public-owned university institutions, then you will want to still check yourself that you won't take it. And again, the final stage is this: at the point of convocation, before you can be given your certificate, you need to be, of course. Look, we must be systemic, it must be deliberate, it must be intentional about some government policies that will bring a stop to all this nefarious act.
Not just the one.
Not just the one or something. No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay, still in the spirit of political perspective and, of course, celebrating our chairman today, we would quickly run to the dance floor to sing and make merry with our chief Ogunla, Funsho Ogunla, because today is the birthday of our chairman, the chairman, iPower 102.7 FM. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. The program is still political perspective.
ẹ kú oríire ṣí Fúnṣọ́ Ògúnlà aláṣẹ àtolùdarí Unified Radio Vision tó kárí ayé ìgbà ọdún ìṣẹ́jú kan ni DPO gbé sókè. I just wanna praise you, Lord. I lift my voice to say I love you. You are everything to me, Lord. I exalt your holy name, Lord. I exalt your holy name, Lord. I exalt your holy name, oh Lord. Mighty Jehovah, I just wanna praise you, Lord. I lift my voice to say I love you. You are everything to me, Lord. I exalt your holy name, Lord. I exalt your holy name, Lord. I exalt your holy name, oh Lord. ṣí Fúnṣọ́ Ògúnláyé ló ní tèmi aláṣẹ àtolùdarí Unified Radio Vision tó kárí ayé ìgbà ọdún ìṣẹ́jú kan ni ṣàmàdá kọjọkọjọ olówó orí ọkọ̀ ṣí Yẹmí Ògúnlà dádì máa gbóhùn lẹ́nu mi. You are the father of this day. Congratulations. Happy birthday to you. You are the father of this day. Congratulations. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Ṣìfàgbélé ṣe bí ọba ayé lónìí tèmi. Ọlọ́jọ́ ìbí òní o. Máa gbọ́. Ó ti rí ire gbà. Ó ti ráyọ̀ gbà. Hallelujah Hallelujah Ó ti rí ire gbà. Ó ti rí ire gbà. Ó ti ráyọ̀ gbà. Ó ti ráyọ̀ gbà. Hallelujah Hallelujah ṣí Fúnṣọ́ ọlọ́jọ́ ìbí òní. Ṣàmàdá kọjọkọjọ ìgbọ̀dọ̀ ìṣẹ́jú kan ní láyé ń bí. Wàá gbégbá ọpẹ́ aláṣẹ power máa gbóhùn lẹ́nu mi. Ìgbọ̀dọ̀ ìṣẹ́jú kan ní. Ṣèbí lókèlókè ṣáá ló máa ń fò. Rárá ò ní jábọ́. Happy birthday to you, Baba. Wàá gbégbá ọpẹ́. Ó ti rí ire gbà. Hallelujah Hallelujah Ó ti rí ire gbà. Ó ti ráyọ̀ gbà. Hallelujah Hallelujah Ààrẹ Máyégún gbogbo ọwọ́ ló ní kí n máa sọ wípé. From my spirit to my soul, until my voice will echo, you are worthy of my worship, worthy of my praise. From my spirit to my soul, until my voice will echo, you are worthy of my worship, worthy of my praise.
Yes, in the spirit of celebration, and of course, still wishing our very own chairman, our Chief Funsho Ogunla, a beautiful birthday celebration today. And we pray that the good Lord continue to prosper, guide, and protect him and all he has. Amen. Happy birthday, sir. Yes, sir. Before we went on that break, we were talking about the new implementation of the government as regards school children being tested upon admission into GSS 1, and of course subsequently periodic test on drugs, upon when they finish the secondary school. Now, what advice would you give to parents?
Yeah.
Many a times they do, even their children, they are not even aware at the level of which the children have gone, and they happen to be in the dark about what the kids can do. So what would you advise parents to do differently as regards this drug tests, and what would you advise God, even the school authorities, to implement basically?
Thank you very, very much. Number one, parents needs to do a lot. The issue of drug is something that must start from the home. How do I mean? Now, there is virtually no home that you get to now that they won't have an Android phone, either the father or the mother. Even no matter how illiterate you think you are, there's still, at least it's affordable. Thank God, and appreciation goes to China that they're able to at least do some that are very, very
For
cheap.
every class, yeah.
So it's not something that a family cannot afford. Now, instead of parents busy watching irrelevance on TikTok and Facebook, instead of them watching movies all the time on their Android phone, they should equally try to generate videos, experiences of people that are falling victim of drugs, people that have been abused. I must tell you this.
That actually reminds me, I stumbled on a video yesterday about a lady who said, okay, at this point, I think she's at the stage of realization, because when the interviewer asked her, who would she blame for all of this, she said herself. Basically, because every other day she was being taken to the rehab, her parents were taking, like, for every time they take her to the rehab, it was from home to the rehabilitation center. She said at some point the parent eventually got tired, and she felt she was doing the father a dissatisfaction by always wanting to do the worst things that would
Always
make.
hurting the father.
Yes, thank you. So she thought she was doing the father a dissatisfaction by making sure that he's going to spend his money. She said at the final stage, she ran away from home, and eventually she was now on the streets. She said feeding is tough. At times she needs to, they need to lay with her to get money to feed. And at this point, she now came to an understanding that she's not even doing the father, that she's actually doing herself. So she's now begging one more time that if she has someone that will actually take her back to that rehab, that she would do better.
Well, thank you very, very much. Number one, I'll start from where you stopped. That is someone to take her back to the rehab.
Yes.
For her to be uttering such statement, she's already rehabilitating herself. Yeah, of course, because she has been able to realize that she has done herself a terrible disservice. So it just take little for her to be able to rehab herself. I think if only she can trace her steps back to her parents. How are we that still alive? How are we that still financially buoyant? As probably as, because before you can take your child to rehab, you must be okay in one way or the other.
Do you think parents have a long role to play?
Yes,
in when it comes to children diving into drugs and being addicted to a reasonable extent?
That is why I said, instead of we parents, that there is no home you get to now. I did not say house, home. I get that they won't have a Android phone. By the time you start having children that are getting a particular stage in life, try to regulate the kind of films they watch or the movies they watch or they see on the phone. Look, all these things became more pronounced via the social media handles. I know my age. The issue of drugs has been in existence for a very, very, very long time. It didn't just start some 10, 20, 30 years ago. No. I've been aware about the issue of drug, substance taking and what have you years back. Back when I was in primary school. But I was just hearing it. I've not seen it. I don't have the idea, until, you see, this our phone, social media has wreaked more havoc than good. I'm able to say it. Because what I'm saying is this. If a right-thinking parent can deem it fit, making sure that your children, maybe when we start handling phone and stuff like that, you yourself as a father or as a parent, you need to discipline yourself first by by monitoring the kind of movies you see on your phone. And most importantly, whenever you see anything that has to do with drug abuse and what have you, let your children call it. Like I said, it won't cost us the energy at which we use in generating skits from TikTok and what have you. The energy that we should use in downloading films, why can't we use that same energy to generate, scenes of where drug abuse is pronounced or the effect of drug abuse? There is no way that when those children begin to see it, they're very, very careful. They now know the implication. Because you won't get it, because of course, like I said, there is nobody that is into drugs that their life doesn't end up being ruined. I have come to realize that. I'm sorry to say this. If a whole Whitney Houston, late Whitney Houston, could die of drug abuse, a whole great, till tomorrow, she was just awarded again some few months ago. She was awarded some few months ago. Great Whitney Houston. If she could die of drug abuse, is that not enough evidence? Not up to some months later, Aunt tragically died. Is Bobby Brown not living his life? Her husband. If the likes of what's it called? I've forgotten the other guy. He called that of drug abuse. So what I'm saying, Michelle, is that even the government needs to play. This is a role to play. The idea of you smoking, drinking, doing all manners on video, what have you, should be, this thing needs to be regulated. When Prime Minister Truth Mohammed, I celebrate say Truth Mohammed, his name is Lai Mohammed, said social media need to be regulated. We thought we were doing us a disservice. Now it is crystal clear that it actually needs to be regulated, because most of these negative influences comes via the social medias. But parents actually has a role to play by making sure, because you cannot give a 100 phone to your child of 5, 6, 10 years old. No. You know, some parents give, all because of social classification, social status, they begin to give phone to a child in secondary school. Around nonsense. Yes.
Even in primary school.
Around nonsense. Now, if your child is given an assignment from primary, secondary school, you have a phone that you can both work on it together.
A tab.
She understand? Not for you to start saying that because she need a phone, he or she needs a phone, give them phone. Do you know what? I know. Look,
Okay, let me throw out the phone lines. 081-655-24699. 081-655-24699. What is your take on the topic as regards drug abuse, the test of drug abuse upon admission for young minds into GSS1 up until XS3? What do you think the government should do differently for as regards that? And of course, what do you think parents and guardians should do? That takes me back to a story that was trending yesterday on the night. I don't know how familiar you are with Big Brother Nigeria. So there's Ilebaye. There was a video of her being beaten by her dad. She filmed it and she was like, she wants to go. So now people had come with different angles to which the story happened. And even the father of the girl actually said something as regards that, saying that ever since she won a Big Brother, Ilibari Precious, ever since she won Big Brother, she has deviated. She has even gone for big BBL. She has done so many things to a point that she's 24, 25, I guess. To a point that she has even introduced her siblings into substance taking. So he got angry. And the moment she came to the house, as a father, as an African father, he actually dealt with her severely now, because it was a buzz on the internet to a point that they even called for his arrest. Now, in his justification, she said, on dojutsu, like she's like ruining the name of the family. Imagine going for at 24, she already has a facelift surgery, she already has a big brain health surgery. She's now into drugs to the point she not even initiate the young ones into it. So now people are saying, as a father, he doesn't have the right again to hit the girl because she's now an adult. How do we correct the manners in society if a father beating the daughter now demands a call for arrest? How do we balance all of this? And again, for parents that are often always busy, in quotes, who feel money is enough to, train the child, or the child will train themselves with money, at what point should parents, guardians now draw the lines? Because if you don't tame them when they're young, nothing can happen when they're older. So at what point do parents think they need to actually draw the lines between work? At what point do you think that they need to draw the lines and do the needful? Because all of this, I'm sure, did not happen suddenly. So what do you think parents should do, and what do you think a guardian should do? And on the case of the mobile phone given to children, I just feel it's a class thing these days, because even kids as young as 3, 4 now have mobile phones. And if you would agree with me, yes, in the name of they are watching their cartoons on it, right? There's some cartoons now that now project such things that are not meant for children to see. So how do you think guardians and parents can actually control what the children digest into their head? Because all of us these days are busy with work, and we expect the kids to fix themselves.
Thank you very, very much. Number one, when it comes to the issue of phone use, commonsensically, no matter how wealthy you think you are, no matter how oriented you think you are, there should be a particular age that a child should get to before making use of phone. And before she or she has her own phone, of course, she needs to be acquainted with you, the way you use your phone, and what you use your phone for. Look, most of these things is what the children have been seeing maybe on the phones of their parents. Of course. But take for instance, my children now, they are I'm just saying it, they are beginning to chant Latin in one way or the other, because they know that I'm from a Catholic background. Whenever I'm looking at TikTok, whenever I see all those Latin things, they're not beginning to learn it in one way or the other. What are the kind of things I see on my phone? It goes a long way in determining what your child will equally see on his or her phone. No doubt, there might be some negative influences, but to a large extent, you must have informed. Look,
Mirrored the kind of lifestyle you want.
She understand. They must have even be having the knowledge, the idea. She understand of what they should be looking at or viewing on their phones. That is one. Secondly, relating the issue of Ile-Baye, or what's it called?
Yeah, Ile-Baye.
Now, to me, in as much as I condone corporal punishment, because you should not deceive ourselves, is still part of way of regulating a kind of brain sets, particularly when a child wants to go astray. Okay, why is it that in the American, European countries, they have issue with their children over there? Look, those people, their lifestyle is different from African lifestyle. That is why till today we still have a reasonable level of discipline amongst ourselves here in Africa. Now, for that man to have gone to the extent of beating up a lady of 24 years old, it simply shows that man has been a disciplinarian from the outset. It's possible that maybe the girl not getting admission, and that was why she was able to go for that BB Nigeria of a thing. And I think it's like she is still staying in the father's house, right?
No, she came to visit.
She came to visit. Very good. And that was when the father now dealt with her. How do you expect a father to close his eyes and allow the life of his other children to get ruined? Now, this is the girl that has done facelift, done buttocks, or what's it called?
BBL.
At BBL, at what age? Is that our celebrity she thinks she is now because she has won BB Nigeria of a thing? And of course, that's what the problem is. I'm trying to say this. Realize the program how to want to be a millionaire, an educative program. What is the value? Oh God, that BBN, what's it called? It has created more problem. Look, you've seen people that have done wonderfully well in academics. How many people have come together to actually sponsor them? You will be amazed at the amount being invested. You know that even the Americans that they copied this thing from, they stopped it. I might be an American Idol of a thing, and BB, it's actually from America. They stopped it. I've always said it. There is nothing that finds its way into this country that we don't abuse.
Okay, in one word, let's just make a summary because our time is fast spent already. What do you tell parents?
Parents
and
just
the government.
Yes, parents number one just need to discipline themselves first. You can't give what you don't have. Nemo quid non abet. You can't give what you don't have. We need to first and foremost discipline ourselves. It is not everything we see on on social media, because our children, they are fast learning from us. That is one. Government on their own part need to be sincere with themselves. Yes, if they are not sincere with themselves, they will not have the political will. If they're not the political will, they won't be proactive. They will continue to be responsive, and being responsive is counterproductive than for being proactive. Because if you are proactive, you would have nipped the thing at the bud before it escalates and you now start looking for solution. So to me, everybody should just do the right thing, and we should be sincere intentional and deliberate about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And of course, the program is still Political Perspective on your number one dial, iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, today we've shed light into what is happening on the papers and in the papers, and of course how we can live as members of society for a better Nigerian. And of course, as a parent and guardian, we actually implore that you pay more closer attention, because if you fail to look into your kids, the internet will look into them for you. And of course, we're talking about the drug test to be done for children upon arrival into GSS1 up until SS3. Yeah, basically, like what Akin said that it should not be a one-off thing by the government. It should be something consistent up until convocation day. So I hope the government would do the needful in this regard. And of course, talking about we also mentioned a couple of things we discussed today, and yes, that's how far we can go on the program today. Many thanks to everyone that's joined, and of course, stayed kept locked in on iPower 102.7 FM. We believe we've been able to inform you